Get yourself to okjersey.com where you can buy the best football shirts around, including this one I'm wearing now, and of course, the absolutely magnificent black Spurs away shirt. And as if that wasn't enough, if you go onto their website and like the look of one of the shirts there, choose your size, pick the Champions League badge for the sleeve as well if you're that way inclined, then go to checkout and type the code BARN into the coupon section. That's BARN as in short for Barnaby. And when you do, you'll get a whopping 8% off your purchase. Now, I'm no mathematician, but 8% means if you've spent, say, and let's face it, I'm being optimistic here, 100 quid, then you get £8 off, not to be sniffed at. Get yourself to okjersey.com to pick one up, or if you're too lazy to type in the website, just scan the QR code that's on the left of me throughout this video. Enjoy. We don't deserve anything more than what we got. I can't even be that devastated at the fact we conceded from a 96th minute corner against 10 men, which is embarrassing enough, because what was far more embarrassing was the performance, which all came because of the absolutely unbelievably unfathomable team selection that our manager decided on today. I cannot understand it. If he doesn't come out in the post-match press conference and say, Udogie was injured, Bentancur was injured, Alderweireld was injured, then I just don't get it. I just don't get it. And of course, the moment he brings on Alderweireld and Udogie and allows us to have some balance, we score 2 goals. Pretty much as soon as it happens, because they have chemistry together on the left-hand side, those players. And yet he started with Spence on the left again. And it was so easy for Manchester United. And I said it, for those of you on the watch along, sorry, because you'll have heard me, but I said it when the corner came in the 96th minute, and I said, you know what's going to happen here? Tottenham will fuck it up. Do you know how I know that? Because every time Tottenham have a chance to go second in the league, they fuck it up. And Brennan Johnson, who'd been fucking around all game from corners with Matthias de Ligt, totally loses his man. Totally loses his man. And a lot of you in the chat, I already see, having a go at Vicario for it. I think the ball comes too far for Vicario to come and get it. And at that point, he's coming across his goal. And the reality of it is no player should have a free header at the back post from a 96th minute corner. And I'm going to tell you this, next week, in 2 weeks' time, after the international break, we play Arsenal. So imagine how many goals they could potentially score from set pieces when you're letting Matthias de Ligt, their best header still in the team because Maguire had gone off with a hamstring, have a free header in the 96th minute. It's unacceptable. Druv in the comments saying, why is Vicario inside his goal? Because he's coming across the goal, right? So he starts and the ball's gone over his head, so he's having to run across his goal. And so he's on the head and he's slightly on the back foot. He shouldn't be on the back foot. I agree with that. That's ideal, but it's not his fault that it's an absolute free header. It's embarrassing. And I guess if I'm looking for some kind of devil's advocate, maybe you could say Romero had just gone off with cramp. But just not good enough. Devon says it feels like a loss brutal. Do you know what, mate? Honestly, it doesn't feel like any more of a loss to me than it felt watching the whole game because of the shocking team selection. Cantab says, to be fair, Frank had to rotate as we played midweek. Did he? There's 2 weeks coming up now where they're not going to be at the club. I think he should have, I don't know, I think he should have pushed the same team to have the same chemistry. I know what you mean, but we were abject, absolutely abject. Rodney says, we should have won this game. I'm so upset. Let's try and find some positives. Brilliant finish from Matisse Tell. Absolutely brilliant finish. It shows if we get him, like from the Leeds goal, if we get him shots outside the box, he's got a great shot on him. If we get him the ball with his back to goal inside the box, he's got a great touch and turn on him and a good finish. So let's give him some more opportunities. I'm sure you're right. And Thomas Frank will come out and say, you know, he had to rotate, but it just made it so easy for Manchester United. So easy. And then, you know, to find ourselves 2-1 up in the last and give it away. David Turner says, going to be an emotional one, methinks. I am emotional, but also didn't deserve anything. Nick in Hong Kong says, shameful defending for their second. Vic inside his goal, trying to save it. Terrible keeping. Martin says, no booze at full time. Progress. David says, not a loss, but feels like one. Super Cup final all over again. Philly, thank you for your comments. Says, Vicario goalkeeping on that corner was absolute shambles. What on earth is he doing? Plus, he's even in the goal. If he does save it, brutal. I don't know. Listen, mate, from corners, you can't blame the goalkeeper if they're getting free headers against them from 3 yards out. I'm sorry. I know you want to blame him, but you shouldn't. Blame Brennan Johnson or blame the fact that Brennan Johnson is the player marking Matthias de Ligt all game. Why? Why? Who was left on that pitch for Manchester United who's tall? Sesko had gone off. Maguire had gone off. So De Ligt, Yoro. That's it. Casemiro had gone off. So you put Danso on De Ligt, obviously. It's leadership. It's making decisions on the hoof in the game. Thomas Frank is not going to be able to shout that over, or the set piece coach. So you make a decision on the hoof. And if you're Kevin Danso or you're Mickey van der Ven, you say to Brennan Johnson, get off him, swap with me. You take a short guy, I'll take De Ligt, and you get your arms around him. Brennan Johnson had already been booked in the first half for having his arms around De Ligt. So that's why he lost him so easily. So frustrating. Tommy says Rishi has to go. FFS. I mean, I will talk about this. Richarlison did get his head on the ball. He did get a goal. I mean, his performance was so embarrassing before that I can barely be impressed with him. But where I'm absolutely the opposite of impressed with him is because he's made this mistake before, is ripping his shirt off for scoring a goal in the 93rd minute, crying on the touchline, and then there being enough time for them to score an equaliser. Just like when he did it against Liverpool, when we equalised, there was enough time for them to go up the other end and then score a winner. So it makes you look like a fucking mug, Richarlison. It makes you look like a dick. And you didn't, Richarlison is a senior player. He should be leading from the front in that corner in the 96th minute as well and saying, I'm going to fucking mark the biggest guy here because I'm good in the air. Did he? No. Drew says, every time Rishi celebrates like crazy after scoring, we immediately concede every single time. Exactly. TJ says, subbing off Xavi. Oh my, I thought it was a bad decision, but we did then score goals after Xavi went off. Just stupid. Tommy says Johnson and Richarlison need to go. Honestly, is it just me who's seeing this? It's not, but we have 10 injuries at the moment. We literally have 10 injuries, 9 of whom I'd say are potential first team players and Takai, who I haven't seen at all. So he does kind of have to rotate. I agree with Cantab on that a little bit, but I also thought it was probably worth a risk in this game to get on the front foot, try and get the crowd behind us like we were against Copenhagen. And I think we would have beaten United. I think United's a very poor team. Tottenham worse, but United a very poor team. One thing, green shoots I can see is that, is there now the possibility in home games for Tottenham to play Udogie on the left, Odebear left-sided forward, Simons in the 10, and Kolo Muani up front, and they can all play well together. Because when we have that balance, we're a good team. And even Jed Spence, when he went off, I think Jed Spence now should solely basically rotate with Porro. And hopefully Ben Davis can come back and Ben Davis can rotate with Udogie. And I know a lot of you will say Ben Davis isn't good enough, but he's balanced. He can bring us balance. And without balance, we are so easy to play against. So easy to play against. Embarrassingly so. It was a cakewalk for Manchester United until he brought Udogie on to give us the balance and to bring that chemistry that he has with Odebear. So frustrating. Liston says, Mbeumo was searching for that corner. Defenders must deny him there. Yeah, I agree. We had 3 men around him. Just push him away. Push him the wrong way. Stop the crosses. Stop the corners. Tommy agrees with me. The starting line, it was unbelievably awful. Plush Teddy says, just one more thing. I'm not Frank out, but I was never Frank in. I guess one thing we can say is Thomas Frank is going the opposite way of Ange Postecoglou, who just wasn't rotating nearly enough, and he is rotating, and we picked up another point. But it's so horrible to watch. And if he's going to do that, he needs to come out and explain it. And I guess Kudus was injured and we missed him, that's for sure. SJ says Odebear is literally the best forward player in this team, along with Kudus. Completely agree. Odebear is growing into himself. Druv says, I also don't know why Muani came off when Rishi was doing cardio in the first half. We needed Odebear and Tell to start with Muani up front. For me, the front line, when fit, Kudus, Kolo Muani, Odebear, with Simons in the 10 and Udogie behind him. It's a no-brainer. And then those players like Tell at the moment, I think is a good player to bring off the bench or when we're rotating. That's fine. Shane says, calm down, Tell goal was a deflection. It wasn't his goal. It's literally his goal, mate. Do you know how deflections work? If they're going in anyway, then it's his goal. It is a brilliant finish. Tijov agrees. Brilliant finish. It took a massive deflection. It can still be a brilliant finish with a deflection. The turn and the shot were brilliant. I'm sorry, you can hear me. I'm being negative, but there's no need to grab a negative out of a positive. Did you see the difference between Matisse Tell and Richarlison, by the way? Tell scores his goal. He's like, come on, back to the halfway line. Let's go again. Richarlison all about himself, ripping his shirt off. Cantab says gutting, but it's a fair result. Yeah, well, I'd say Tottenham losing would be the fair result, to be honest. Dennis says the front three starting team did not even play together before. It's too bold to do. I'm agreed with that. SJG said, I thought we were good now in set pieces. No, I said this during the game. Like, we've started believing the kind of drinking the Kool-Aid and believing the hype, and now we've turned absolutely appalling at set pieces. And look, Udogie is just facing the wrong way. Udogie is just looking at the goal when it goes in, and Bentaker's nowhere near Dillit either, and Johnson had lost his man. And for me, if you're Brennan Johnson, you're just like embarrassed, because that is my man, and your job is to put in a challenge. And there's Richarlison on the line doing nothing. Horrible. Devon says, blame the fact they gave up a corner in the last second. Stephen says, we got too carried away from Richarlison's goal and lost focus. Completely agree. Trueb says, objectively, it's not a loss. It's a draw. And with more forward-thinking players, we are capable of getting the ball in the opponent's box. Just unfortunate we had to sit through 80 minutes of drab. Yeah, that is an understatement. And Gary Riddell, I agree with, says 2-2 or not. It's a shambles. And Miss Happy says, for 99% of the game, Richarlison was a headless chicken. Completely agree. Tommy says, Barnaby, how does Johnson and Richarlison start this game? Love your coverage and videos, by the way. Cheers, mate. Appreciate that. They start the game because of our injuries, mate. That's why they start the game, purely because of the injuries. And he's just rotating really hard. Now, Frank is coming out the tunnel, like waving to the fans happily. Don't look happy, pal. Do not look happy, because your team selection was absolutely shameful today, in my opinion. SJ says, embarrassing. I knew we'd concede after he took his shirt off. Yeah. P says, Odegaard beating opponents, good signs. Johnson was marking Dillit and completely lost him. Yeah. We needed that win, to be honest, when we got Arsenal next. Dearie me. And Devon says, just so classic Spurs. Score a winner only to lose it, giving a bad corner away, bad marking Bakary in his net, poor team selection. Yeah. I said it when that corner came in. I was like, only Spurs could fuck it up from here. That's exactly what they did.
I think the very big positive from this game is
just listening to Frank's interview.
I would say the overall performance, but especially second half, where
Thomas Frank saying second half stuck to the game plan, stuck to the structure, stayed in the game, kept doing the right things, kept believing. What was he fucking watching? Until he brought on Odegaard and Udogie, we were up absolute dog shit. Che Taylor, completely agree, says we need another left back in January. Completely. It's got to be the first signing, someone to rotate with Udogie. Got to be. PSG says 2 points thrown away. And Gary Riddell says setting up not to lose is a small team mentality. Yeah, I agree with that. Andrew says, why does Pedro Porro take all our corners and free kicks? He really isn't that good at producing anything from them. Well, we scored 2 goals from them the other week, so I can't really agree with that, I'm afraid. Eugene says January can't come soon enough, but will it make a difference? Don't know. Sirius FX says Rishi had the second highest rating on Spurs going into the second half. You all look for a scapegoat, but no other strikers asked to defend as much as Richarlison is. Not Haaland, not Mbappe. I think that's slightly naive to put Richarlison in a boat with Haaland or Mbappe. He's asked to do some pressing, but Dominic Solanke does some pressing and holds the ball up. I'm sorry, but if you watched Richarlison's performance today, I don't know how you can say that. I really don't. Malloy Knight says, I've seen during his Brentford days, he would always concede late. Yeah, Cantab says, we can't just get our best players all the time at the same time with 10 injuries. That's true. Tundaleo says, hey, Barnaby, Frank picked a team that was worried about Man United. We were actually upbeat within the stadium. The second half performance was much better. It was better, but it wasn't the second half performance, was it? I mean, yeah, we got a couple of crosses in early in the second half and their keeper made a couple of saves, but putting a couple of crosses in doesn't make a good performance. It was only when Odegaard and Udogie came on with the balance that we were able to put in a good performance. But listen, this team, I'm sorry, and maybe it's not unexpected considering we finished 17th last year, but do you expect anything other than this team to crumble against Arsenal in the next game away at the Emirates? Can you imagine? Deary me. Karate says this is the same team under Ange in the league. Yeah, it's not that different. And one thing I would say is he is picking up points from this. But Shane agreed, says, please see that Tottenham still can't win at home. Only beaten Burnley at home in the Premier League this season. Rodney Martin, we cannot see out a game. Stephen says, I think the Man United goalkeeper distracted Johnson for the last goal. No excuse. Coys, the boys, says the next games, Paris Saint-Germain and Arsenal away. Next 2 games. Shane with the only positive, Odegaard getting better. Sirius FX has such a toxic fan base. Are you a Spurs fan? Were you not feeling this was 2 abject home performances in a row from Spurs until he brought on Udogie and Odegaard, which he should have been playing from the start. That's what I think. Deary me. Anyway. All right, guys. Listen, thanks for watching. This has been your post-match review. I'm sorry to get so wound up about it, but I just watching that, I just didn't enjoy it at all until Odegaard and Udogie came on. And then we showed how good we can be with a bit of balance, although United had gone down to 10 men for some of that. But yeah, disappointed. We could be in second place now, but as ever, whenever Tottenham have the opportunity to go down to second place, they managed to find an embarrassing way to screw it up. And we need to show more leadership on the pitch. Anyway, try and enjoy your weekends and, of course, the international break. Come on, you Spurs. Get yourself to okjersey.com, where you can buy the best football shirts around, including this one I'm wearing now, and, of course, the absolutely magnificent black Spurs away shirt. And as if that wasn't enough, if you go onto their website and like the look of one of the shirts there, choose your size, pick the Champions League badge for the sleeve as well if you're that way inclined, then go to the checkout and type the code BARN into the coupon section. That's BARN as in short for Barnaby. And when you do, you'll get a whopping 8% off your purchase. Now, I'm no mathematician, but 8% means if you've spent, say, and let's face it, I'm being optimistic here, 100 quid, then you get £8 off, not to be sniffed at. Get yourself to okjersey.com to pick one up with